hates you.
Hello and welcome to Everyone Hates You, a podcast with me, Michelle Shaughnessy, where we talk about rejections and failures. I am constantly being rejected or feeling like a failure at something, which is why I started this podcast. Today in studio, I have a very fabulous guest I'm excited about. I have comic, actress, content creator, Thenjiwe. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Oh, you're so kind. And I met you for the first time recently at the Comedy Store. And I got to say, when you walked in, you looked so beautiful and so put together.
Oh, thank you.
And I mean, I've been doing comedy a long time, and it's very rare to see a comic that actually takes such pride in how they look and seem like such a put together person. And then you were hilarious. I loved your set so much. And I love working with comics I hadn't seen before, especially funny women. That's what I love. And I was very impressed. And we had Kate Barron in common. And I remember going home and being like, I met Thenjiwe. And she was like, she's so funny. And I was like, yes. And then I saw your Instagram and I saw how much content that you're constantly putting out. And I found it very inspiring. It made me feel very lazy because I will go in waves where I put out a video here and there. And I'm like, I'm going to do this every day. And then I just get lazy and it drops off. So how do you put out that much content?
I love what I do.
Okay.
Which is why I also always try to look good because the stage is my boardroom.
I love that.
And when it comes to content creation, not only do I love it, but once you discover that it can pay your bills, you love it even more.
Really? See, because I had heard people talk about that. And I always thought that was something that doesn't really happen. You know what I mean? So you can. Okay.
Yes.
How long did it take you to really find your groove with it?
When I first started, I started because I wanted to do content in my home language that I knew if I said in English, it wouldn't be the same. And also, you know how comedy can be subjective. And if you didn't grow up where I grew up, you will not understand some of the jokes.
Okay.
So I did it just for fun. And then it picked up. And then one day I had a letter. No, I had an email from YouTube that they needed my bank details.
Oh, wow. Was a part of you felt like maybe it was a scam at first or something? Like getting an email like that?
I didn't think it was a scam because at the time, even if it had been a scam, I would have been scammed.
Okay.
And then I got monetized. And the rest is history.
Good for you.
But the good thing also is I love what I do.
Okay.
I do it out of love.
Okay, I like that. I feel like for me, I need to, I'm trying to think, because it's not that I don't love it. I feel like I'm very lazy. So if I don't see results right away, I give up at something. And that's what I'm trying really hard to change about myself, because I do feel like there's a lot of things I could be good at, but I'm not prepared for the time it takes to actually become really good at something, if that makes sense. And I do feel like if you're good at something, then you will love what you do. Do you know what I mean?
I feel like everyone is good at something. You just need to find your tribe.
Okay.
You just need, because sometimes we are just chasing, excuse me, the wrong audience.
Okay, that's a really good way to look at it.
Yeah, but everyone is, it's like internet dating. If you're going to
God.
lie,
Yeah.
you will end up with the wrong people.
That's true, actually.
But there's someone out there looking for exactly what you have to offer.
You're very positive. I like that. I definitely need more positive people in my life. I find sometimes with comics, I'm sure you found this too, working with different comics, we're very negative people inherently, I find. Not all of us, but I think a lot of it has to do with negativity. So when I found that when you're around a group of comics for a weekend doing a club and you're with negative people and they're talking about, oh, I didn't get this or, oh, that, and they're just so worried about how everyone else is doing other than themselves, like I pick up that energy and then I kind of become that, if that makes sense, which is why I'm starting to try to find more positive people within the industry to surround myself with, because I do think I pick up
the positives. I only pick up the positives.
Have you always been
except for HIV.
That's a good positive to stay away from. Yeah.
Everything else I want positive.
Have you always been like that?
Yes. Because I come from a place where you're not expected to win at anything.
Okay.
I come from a place where you're not even expected to live to the age I am. So I grew up just being positive and knowing that I wanted to be different. I wanted to do things different from what is expected of me.
Okay.
I knew that your environment doesn't make you, and what you are today is not necessarily what you're going to be tomorrow.
That's really smart. That's a really good way to look at it, because I do feel sometimes like it's hard to like change yourself almost, because I think we're told so long that people can't change. Like you always hear that, oh, people can't change. That's just the way they are. So I think sometimes people resist changing themselves because we just feel like there's no point. Like you can't change your outlook on life, you know?
And I come from a place where they will laugh at you if you dare to dream.
Really?
Yeah, because our dreams are not supposed to be valid.
Okay.
But I've always carried that positive attitude that I will do it, I will make it. And I always try to inspire those who come after me to say it is possible. Because I come from one of the most violent and poorest places in a township in Durban in South Africa.
Mm-hmm.
It's called Wamashu. Even black people are scared to go. I did a survey on social media the other day where I was like, which township you would never move to even if you were paid $1 million. And that was $1 million US, not Zimbabwean dollars. And I think 90% of the people were like, Kwamashu, which is where I come from.
Wow.
But I was able to make it out of there. I was able to travel the world. I was able, even in my family, I was the first one to graduate. I was the first one to leave not just the country, but the province of KwaZulu, where I come from. So if you carry a positive attitude, everything and anything is possible.
Interesting. I got really into manifesting for a little bit. Do you manifest? Or is that, because the way you're saying, like, if you believe it, anything's possible, that's kind of the same principle of manifestation, yes. Right? So is that something that you have to work to achieve, or are you just every day you just think positive thoughts and this is the way things are going to work out for me?
I believe it starts from thinking positive thoughts, but you have to work towards your goal.
Okay.
You cannot say, I want to win the lottery and you're not playing.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, I definitely struggle with that. Like I said, I find if I don't get results right away, I just give up, right? So I get really into things and then leave it. Like with the manifestation, I bought 1 billion books. I had like a manifestation coach. I took courses. I spent so much money. And then after like 2 weeks, I was like, oh, this isn't working, you know? I'm not going to do this anymore. And now I have all these unused books at home that are just sitting there collecting dust. So I definitely need to stick with something.
Maybe you should try doing it by yourself and not paying people.
I know.
Because when you pay people, you expect faster results.
You're absolutely right. And it's a waste of money because it's just about what's in here, right? So I can pay somebody $1 million and they can't change what's in my brain.
They can't.
That's in my brain.
It's like people who think just by going to church, they are a changed person, they're going to go to heaven. It's your actions.
Yeah, and I find like I grew up in a family where I grew up Catholic. So we did go to church and a lot of family went to church, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they were good people.
No.
But I think that made them feel good.
And
like
going
I
to
can
church
sin all week and then go to church and be fine.
It doesn't even make you Catholic.
No, it
because
doesn't.
it's like the saying that if we put a car, if you go into a garage, you don't become a car.
Mm-hmm.
So if you put a stick in the river, come back 100 years later, it's not going to be a fish. So it's about your actions, not putting yourself in the place and just waiting for things to happen.
Yeah, that's okay. That makes sense. And with comedy, like right now you're in the semifinals for British Comedian of the Year, which is so exciting. I love that.
You.
And you were saying earlier when you first signed up for the contest, you weren't really thinking that far ahead, right? You were just thinking like, oh, I'll do this because it's fun.
Yes.
And now that you're progressing, you must be really like excited to like. You probably got your eyes on the prize now, right?
I'm so excited now, and I want to be in the final.
Yes.
I want to say finalist.
That's amazing. So when you did the first show, how many people moved forward?
It was 3.
Okay. Out of how many people?
I think about 12.
That's great.
Yeah.
Good for you. That's great to like put yourself in those situations. I did contests earlier in my career, and I was the same way where I was like, oh, it'll be fine. But then once I made it far, I get so involved in it. I'm like, no, I have to win. I have to win.
Yes.
And then when I didn't, I was like, oh, I'm never doing contests again. But I will again eventually. I need to stop being so sensitive about those kind of failures and rejections.
I just want to make it to the final. When I first did it, for me, it was, oh, let's see. I didn't even know they would like accept me for the hits.
Okay.
And also, it was stage time.
That's a good way to look at it.
Stage time, there's going to be an audience. And I tried new stuff because I was just having fun.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone could have won because it was not like an easy contest. Nobody would have complained if...
So it was hard for them to decipher winners, is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
And the audience voted. And so it was nice to go through.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm like, semi-final. Now I want to go to the final.
When is the semifinal?
Tonight.
That's so exciting. And how many people move through of this one?
I don't know.
Okay.
I have no idea.
Okay. Well, that's pretty good. And I think that like with your, because I think you're absolutely hilarious. And I think I really feel like Kate and I were even talking about it. Like some comics you can look at and be like, okay, they're going to go far. And I definitely felt that about you, like watching your set. Like you seem like you looked like a star before you even got on the stage.
Oh,
and so when you went up there, it was just this commanding presence because like you said, you feel like comedy's your boardroom almost. So you have to have like that put together look. And I think that definitely makes the audience kind of be like, oh, okay, this is a professional comic or professional human being, and it commands that respect almost, you know? And I think not enough comics maybe put thought into what their look kind of says about them on stage.
You always look good.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I think it's the women that
put together.
The women do. A lot of these men, I see them and I'm like, how could you even leave your house in that, let alone go on stage in front of hundreds of people looking like a monster, you know? So I find the women are more apt to know that matters, you know? And it does matter. It's sad that it matters, but it does matter. And for me, when I look good, I feel good.
I'm the same. When I look good, I feel confident.
Yes, and confident, I think, is maybe 80% of this business, I find.
And if you look good, even if you're not funny, they can at least say, but she looked good.
Yeah, I bombed a TV taping so bad maybe 6 years ago, and I got off stage, and the producer was like, well, you looked beautiful up there. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, my act was terrible. Like, they ended up like cutting it out of the broadcast. So that was one of my big failures for sure. But at least I looked good.
You looked good.
Exactly. So that's what I need to find, those little wins in life. Did you start the content creation before you started the stand-up?
No.
Okay.
I started stand-up first.
When was your first?
Well, I studied drama.
So acting?
Yes.
Okay.
That was my first degree.
Oh, you got a degree in
South
acting.
Africa.
Okay.
Yes. But, which brings me to my failures.
Okay.
That was one of my first failures because I couldn't get a job. Because I come from Durban.
Mm-hmm.
It's like coming from Liverpool. And once you get your degree, you have to come to London.
Okay.
To now get into the acting space. But I hadn't realized that it would still mean needing money to pay rent, needing money to go to auditions. So I found it so difficult that, but I turned that failure into a positive because I told myself, yes, I have failed, but I'm going to use this opportunity to go to another country. I went to America to become an au pair to raise funds so that I could come back and afford to live in Johannesburg. Because I didn't like how other people were living. I was like, I'm not going to live here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to stay in these conditions just to try and make it in the industry. And yeah, so I went to America and the intention was to go there for a year. Work, raise money, because being an au pair, you don't have to pay rent. You live in somebody's house and you're earning in dollars. But so after a year, when you bring it back to an African country, it's a lot of money. But when I got there, I saw how the other half of the world lives. I was like, I'm not going back to Africa.
So you just never went back?
I did.
Okay.
I stayed in America. I ended up being there for 2 years. And when my visa expired, I had seen how other people who were there illegally were suffering.
Mm-hmm.
They would still get jobs and they would still be making money, but just not being able to visit home. They wouldn't be able to go, even if it was family, weddings, funeral, nothing. They can't, because if you go, you know you can't
And it's
come
hard
back.
to advocate for yourself when you're not being treated right,
Yes.
when you have that fear of being discovered to not be allowed in the country, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So I even know someone who won the lottery.
As
And they gave it to their boss. They gave the ticket to their boss because they couldn't claim it because they were illegal in the country. And the guy took the money, fired him, and he couldn't go anywhere.
That's awful.
But you have no way to report him because if you report him, you're going to get deported. Yeah, so that's when then I went back after 2 years because I was like, I'd rather go back home than stay here, be illegal. And once you are caught by immigration, it makes it hard for you to even visit any other country.
Of course.
Yeah, so then that was my second failure, amongst many though, amongst very many, because I tried to sort out my immigration status in America.
America's very hard.
It's very difficult. Yeah. It's very difficult. I tried. I couldn't. I tried almost. I tried. Yeah.
Were you sad to leave America?
I wasn't sad because it was a choice. I could have stayed. I knew people who had been there 15 years but I wanted freedom of movement.
Of course.
I wanted to be able to be free to move. So it was a conscious decision that I made to leave. I would have rather stayed, but I thought I'd rather leave. If I'm meant to come back, I will come back another time. And I went back home. And when I went back home, that's when I discovered that they were doing the working holiday in London, in England. They had this visa, special visa, working holiday.
Come on holiday and make money
for 2 years. Okay. So I did that. And when I came here, it was high priority for me to either focus on working, making as much money and go back home, or to sort out my immigration status. So the first guy who asked me for my name, I married him because he had a British passport.
Okay, I like that. Are you still married?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay. I like that a lot. So you came and do you like it here?
Yes, I don't like the weather.
Oh my God. I find it very, very depressing. I love London and I love the arts here. There's so much more opportunity.
There's so many opportunities here.
But I'm finding myself getting so depressed in this weather. And I don't know how to snap out of it, you know? But everyone said this was going to happen. So I definitely am trying to be more positive about it and look at like, okay, well, I'm working. I'm making money. It'll be okay. But this weather, it's just so depressing. And I find it makes it easy for me to cancel things that I shouldn't cancel, you know? Because I'm like, oh, it's so gross out. Like, do I really want to go and do that? But I'm trying really hard to like not say no to as many things as I probably would a year ago. Because I do feel like the world will put you in places where you're supposed to be.
Yes.
Because you never know who's going to see you at that gig or opportunity or, you know, maybe meet a rich billionaire.
Yep.
One of those things. Like that's the hope and the dream, right?
Yeah.
But do you do, in terms of auditioning here, how's that gone for you?
I haven't done any acting here.
Okay.
I haven't done any acting. When I first settled here and decided I'm here to stay,
This is where you're going to stay.
This is where I'm going to stay. I was very excited and I wanted to get into acting. But I soon realized that nobody was looking for someone with my accent. And not many roles are for people who look like me.
Okay.
And even in theater, the productions that are looking for people that look like me or sound like me need to be able to sing. And I cannot sing.
Okay.
I'm a Sunday school dropout because I couldn't sing.
I wish that I could sing.
I was kicked out of Sunday school. And where I come from, we are known for singing. Like on my street, we have 4, not my street, but my township.
Yeah.
We have 4 Grammy Award winners.
Whoa.
Like we are known for singing. The Lion King, all the productions, majority of the cast come from where I come from.
Because of where you're from?
Yes.
Okay.
And I cannot. If I were to sing now, the RSPCA will be outside within minutes thinking we are strangling a goat or... So that's when my dream for acting died. I was like, okay, maybe I should listen to what my parents used to say, get a real job. So I went to uni and studied law.
When you were studying law in uni, did you know that that wasn't really what you wanted to do, but you felt you had to, or did you enjoy it?
I enjoyed it, but it's not what I wanted to do. But I
Okay.
enjoyed it. And law is very similar to acting. Like you get
Okay.
to perform for different audiences every day you are in court. So I enjoyed it, and I love politics.
Mm-hmm.
I love history.
Okay.
So I did enjoy it. And even my lecturers and the people I was studying with, they would always tell me, "You're so funny," because of how I would put my arguments. But I just had forgotten about being in entertainment. But life brought me back to it.
How did it bring you back to it?
Well, how I started comedy, I started here in London. I was out in a pub after a long day of work with my learned friends, and there happened to be a open mic, and they were like, "Oh, you can do this. These people are not funny. You can go on stage and do this." And I was drunk. Next thing, someone had put my name, and they called me. I went on stage, and I had just had so much fun.
And was there something that clicked where you're like, this is what I'm going to do
This is what I
now?
want to do.
Good for
Yes.
you.
I had so much fun. And then I started just I did the Funny Women competition. I got to the finals, and I love when I think back, because I don't even know what I was doing or saying, because I didn't even understand comedy the way I understand it now. I was just doing it for fun. I thought you just go on stage, say whatever you want to say as long as people laugh.
Mm-hmm. Well,
I
that's
had
kind
no
of it.
structure,
Yeah.
nothing. And soon after that when I started doing, just took my phone and recorded. Actually, the first video I did, I was telling my friends a story.
Like for social media, you mean?
No, yes.
Okay.
I was just telling my friends a story, and one of my friends who had a phone with a camera just recorded me telling the story and posted it. And it went viral. And then I was like, I did another one. And at the time, I only had Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
So people were posting on their own platforms. And everyone was like, you must open your own Instagram. You must open your own YouTube, because people are posting your stuff. And then, I just enjoyed it, because it took me back to acting.
Mm-hmm.
And then I went back to South Africa, because I wanted to perform in my language.
Mm-hmm.
Went back to South Africa, and I did a web series, because I was now starting to take content creation very serious. I did a web series, and it was picked up by television, because it was having so many views. They were like, we need to have this on TV. So
That's amazing. I feel like that definitely shows that that's kind of what you were meant to do, because people try forever to get a viral video and it just doesn't happen. So the fact that your first one went viral, that's definitely, I guess, the universe saying like, this is what you're meant to do, Thenjiwe.
that is why it's difficult to know when you have a failure, because some things are a blessing in disguise.
Okay.
Because had I got in the first audition when I went to Johannesburg, I would have acted for other people. I may never have done my own sitcom where I create, write, and I star. I would have just been acting for other people or writing for other people. I would not have known my full potential.
Mm-hmm.
I may never have done stand-up comedy. So sometimes your failures are not necessarily your setbacks. You are just at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Mm-hmm.
And the universe wants to remove you to put you where you need to be.
I think like I need to look at the industry more like that. The way that you're saying, like, just because you didn't get that doesn't mean that you're failing or that you're not succeeding. That just wasn't meant for you. I tell myself that about relationships all the time, where I'm like, even looking back, my very first boyfriend when I was like 23, I was devastated when we broke up. Like, I thought he was the one. And looking back now, I could not imagine being with that person, where I'm like, I'm so glad that didn't work out, because I couldn't even imagine what my life would be like if I was still with that guy, but I don't apply that to the industry a lot, and I need to more, because sometimes I'll have a failure and it'll set me back, where I just will stay at home and eat biscuits for 2 days, because I can't get over it.
When it does happen, it will mess with your emotions. It makes you sad. Like, Like I was saying, when I left America, had I stayed in America, I'd still be a nanny. A lot of my friends who decided to stay in America,
They're still nannies?
Yeah, they are nannies.
Yeah.
Yes, they drive nice cars. They have, some of them have houses, or they live in these beautiful, expensive, rich people's houses, but it's not their houses. It's not theirs. You're right, because you know in America you'd be driving the best car, but it's not yours. You are a nanny. Would I be happy? I probably would, because I wouldn't have known what what else I could have done. Would I have been a stand-up comedian? I don't think so. Would I have ever been on TV? Maybe on Crime Watch. I don't know.
Depends on what part of America you're living in, I guess, right? So you must be like, so you were saying where you grew up, people didn't really dream. It wasn't really, was it not encouraged because it was more to be like, this is just what your life is and you need to work and be realistic about this is where you're from and this is what it has to offer
people
you.
had given up because I grew up during apartheid in South Africa. So there were very limited resources, limited things you could do. Even in school, we were taught how to buy groceries for your white madam that you're going to work for. Wow. How to clean a white person's house. This is how they like their house cleaned. This is what they like. Because they knew that most of us as females, you either end up working in a factory or you end up working as a maid.
So it was just trying to keep people realistic instead of like encouraging them to get out.
Yes.
Okay.
Someone who went to the schools that I went to was not even supposed to be able to speak English. Because even though we were taught English in Zulu, which is my language. Sometimes I see the teachers that taught me, I'm like, what were they teaching us? Because they know absolutely nothing. Since you're putting your content online and your life is just so accessible out there, do you hear from people back home that find it inspiring, I guess, a little bit? That must be a really good feeling. Yes. I bet. And I have also helped a lot of people start up their social media, start up content creation. I was so proud last week. One of the guys that I helped to get to take social media seriously and professionally, he just finished building his first house. Oh, wow. And it's a beautiful house. And I was like, I'm so happy. Because it doesn't matter what I can do for myself. It's what I do for others. Okay. That makes me happy. Well, that's probably why you like comedy so much too, right? Because it makes other people happy when you're on stage. It does. And I try to remind myself of that sometimes because I'll have a really bad day and I'll go to a show and then sometimes people will come up to you after and they'll be like, you know what, I was having the worst day, or this person passed away, or this is my first night out. And then it reminds me kind of like, even though I feel like, oh, that was a terrible gig or I should be doing better things, like obviously in that moment, it was the right place because it really helped someone else feel better about themselves. Yes. And I think a lot of times as comics, we don't look at those little moments as much as we should. Yes. And you know, when you listen to the audiences that come to see comedy, they can change you and how you do your comedy. I used to be one of those comics who, because I'm good with improv as well, so just pick on the audience, make fun of them. But after one of the gigs, I was talking to the audience members, and one person said they were going through something was just so horrific, and their friend said, let's go to a comedy show to try and make them feel better. And every time now I always think, what if you pick on that one person? Yeah, I don't like not know people. Whose goldfish just died. Exactly. I find like if somebody heckles me or is talking, I'll make fun of them. Yes. But I don't, even when if somebody's talking and they don't mean to be, like, I don't want to be mean to them. Like, I'll lightheartedly joke with them and stuff, but I never wanted to be one of those comics that are mean. Like, I've seen comics just rip on people who are maybe being a little too loud or a little too drunk, and it's like, that is just so mean to me because I've been that person that's maybe a little too loud or maybe too drunk or you don't realize the volume of your voice. And I just think that, like, you never know how sensitive somebody's going to be or what they're going through. And so I think it's refreshing to kind of like see comics who do still just want to make people happy, you know, because I think a lot of comedy is like you go up there and talk about everything that's going wrong in your life. And I don't think necessarily, I think it's
for me, it's important to remind myself that they don't care. They're there to have a good time. They don't care how awful I feel. You know, it's all about having a good time, and the audiences are the ones that really matter, you know?
Yes.
And I think that's why I liked your set so much, because when I say refreshing, I don't think that's the right word, but it was a voice that I hadn't seen before on stage, and especially at the Comedy Store, you know? And so to see like a strong, powerful woman come up there and make the audience feel good was really nice to see.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, no, it really was. And I feel like you're going to go really far in comedy. And I really hope, you know, it doesn't, I mean, I don't think this is a fear, but some people just get so jaded and so bitter, and you don't seem like you have that mentality about you, which is why I think you'll go further faster than a lot of people, because it's so easy to become bitter in acting or in comedy, anything in entertainment.
I was actually having a conversation this morning with a friend of mine. We did drama together, and then she went into the corporate world. I went to America. She had children. Life went on. And then when she was much older, she went back to acting. And we were saying that we are so happy that things didn't happen when we were younger. We would have made so many mistakes. We would have, we would have gone crazy. It's so nice when you find success when you are much older.
Yeah, I agree with that. I feel like if I had got fame or success in my 20s, I probably would have, you know, got into drugs or something, you know? I would not know what to do with that
people.
money. Yeah, absolutely. That's a really good way to look at it.
If I was younger, I would not have left South Africa at the height of my fame to come back here. But now, because I'm much older, my priorities are different. I enjoy being famous, but I don't enjoy everything about it. So it was easy for me to say, I'll go start somewhere else, do what I really love, which is stand-up comedy. And if I'm meant to end up acting as well, it will happen.
Okay.
But if I was younger, I would have been like, there's no way I'm leaving.
Because you're famous there, right? You're
when
like,
I go to the mall, people want to take photos with me.
Was that weird kind of leaving that to come to a place where people don't know you, though?
I love it.
Oh,
Because
really?
you become human again.
Okay.
Even my stand-up comedy was getting affected at home because I have a big following. So sometimes people come for the TV character, not for stand-up comedy.
That must be frustrating.
Or they come for a comedy sketch that they saw on the internet. And some of them are coming to stand-up comedy for the first time. And when they announce your name, you're already getting a standing ovation. And now you have to live up to, like, you can't be trying out. It's a lot of pressure.
So it's pressure because you might want to try new bits.
And also you have too many people that are following you everywhere you go. And if, you know, in comedy, we repeat jokes because sometimes you're still working on stuff.
Of course.
But when you have a cult following, they're going to say, oh, she's repeating jokes. She's always got the same jokes, because they don't understand how comedy works. So here I am performing for a new audience every evening. I've got time to take my stuff to the gym. Whereas at home, it's like...
Do you ever get recognized here from people like from back home and stuff?
Yes.
Okay, that must still kind of be nice though, because then you could still be like human again and not have those people following you or, you know, having all that pressure, but then to still walk down the street sometimes and have people be like, Thenjiwe, that must be really nice. Yeah.
And they support as well. They do support. Like when I was in Edinburgh, it was so nice to have... I had people who came from home just to see my show.
Oh, that's so nice.
I had people who came from Zambia, and it was so nice. And I was very lucky. That's why I love the comedy gods.
Yeah.
Because you know how Edinburgh can be.
Oh, gosh. And I feel like I went last year, and it was so mentally draining. But again, if I had done it 10 years before, that would have really affected me. I would have drank. I don't drink anymore. I would have drank. I would have got really depressed and probably, you know, affected my shows. But I had to pretend that I was performing to a sellout audience every night, even though I wasn't, you know.
Yes.
But if I wouldn't have had the ability to do that 10 years ago,
Yes.
I would have, you know, taken it out on the 10 people that did come one night, you know. Even though that's still 10 people, they still got to get as good of a show as I would have if it was a sold out room.
Yeah.
Do you think you're going to go again?
I would love to. It's very expensive.
It's
though.
so expensive.
It's so expensive.
Oh.
But I would definitely love to go again. And I was so lucky because every time I had people who had traveled from far, they came on a good sold out day.
That's
Because
really
you
good.
wouldn't want someone traveling all the way from Kenya or from Southern Africa to come on a day where it's just them.
When you did the festival, did you expect the highs and lows that come with it? Were you prepared?
Yes and no.
Okay.
Because I had been, but not taken a show.
Okay. So you just did spots and
I
watch
did
shows.
spots,
And,
yes.
Okay.
So I had seen the shows with 4 people. I had seen the shows with 3 people. What I didn't realize is how much harder it is to be performing every day. As exciting as it
Really
is.
hard.
And I had 2 shows that I had to do every day. Plus I had a lot of sports.
Mm-hmm.
But I was doing my solo show and I was doing the AAA show as well.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing I learned is I was not happy with the slots I was given. But it was my first time taking a show, so I had to take whatever I was given because my
That's
show
what I
was
did
at
too.
2:25
Okay.
in the afternoon. So I was like, this is going to be a bad slot. It ended up being the best. I would take it again.
Honestly, I did 9:30. No, 8:30, and there was too much competition. Too much famous people before me at that time. But again, it was my first year, and I listened to everyone else. So everyone else, I let pick the venue. I let pick, the size of the room, the time. I listened to everyone else because I didn't know any better. And I'd also just moved to the country. So I was learning so much. And comedy here is different than it's done in North America. So it was such a big learning curve for me that when I go again, I'm definitely going to trust my own instincts this time. And I don't fault people. It was people just trying to help me. But I didn't listen to the little voice inside my head with a few of the things. And I'm not going to say regret because I'm trying not to have regrets in that regard. But I just know that moving forward, when I do the festival again or anything on that scale, I'm going to have to listen to what's in here a little bit, telling me maybe that's not the right thing, But I do think the festival is such a grind. And I've seen people come back not okay, And that's why I find I'm glad that I did it when I was an adult. Because I've seen people that just end up drunk for 30 days because they're so depressed how their show's going. And you can't drink for 30 days and be okay.
And you see people worrying about other shows.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And not focusing on their shows.
That's one thing that I've gotten so much better at as I've got older. Like when I was younger, I would look up everyone's reviews or how they were doing or what people were thinking about them. And I almost get a joy if it wasn't going well. And that's really unhealthy,
It is.
So I was good about that. But I do see people get really obsessed with it and be like, did you see this review? Did you see? And it's like, I've tried really hard to kind of weed those people out a little bit. Not that they're bad people, but they're just unhealthy for me to be around.
You get a lot of people also who lie about the success of their shows.
Yeah.
Who hype their shows.
Yeah.
And you're like, I've seen you perform. I've seen your show.
Exactly, right? It's very funny like that because I think I'm more realistic. Like if I had a bad show, I would put out online that I had a bad show and try to make it funny. I wouldn't lie and be like, no, it was amazing. I'm so great. But some people just do. And I guess that works for them, But it was hard for me. Did you find it hard to make friends here?
Here in
London. Okay. I'm finding it really hard.
Yes. But fortunately for me, I have a good South African community, which is why I live in Woking, because there was already some people I knew who lived there.
That must be really helpful.
Yes.
Okay.
But in terms of making friends with people, like people in the industry, I find it difficult.
Me too.
Because also some people are just too competitive.
Well, that's the thing too. Like in Toronto, I started comedy at a very young age. So I didn't have an adult life outside of comedy. And that really affected me. So maybe 7 or so years ago, I made an effort to not have my whole life be comedy. And I had friends that weren't just comics, or I made my circle very small. And I had maybe 3 or 4 close comedian friends. And that really helped. But moving here, I don't have a day job, so I don't meet people in that regard. So everyone I meet is in the industry. And I would say yes to everybody when I first got here. I'd go hang out. I'd, go for coffees, go whatever. And I really had to kind of take a look even like a few months ago and be like, okay, I can't be around those negative people who are constantly worrying about what everyone else is getting, because then I'll become that. And it becomes really depressing. But I do find it hard to make friends here and, have them be real friendships. Because sometimes in this industry, people will be talking to you and you realize, oh, they're trying to see what they can get out of me.
Yes.
And I find that really hard because I'm not like that. Like if I don't like somebody, I don't care how many followers they have. I don't care how rich they are. I can't be around them and fake that we're having a good time. And a lot of people can. And those people kind of scare me, you know? Because then you wonder, like, do they really like being around me, or they just think I can get them on the show or I can introduce them to this person? And so I do find I'm a bit gun shy here when it comes to like hanging out with people in the industry and making friends.
And if they can't get what they want, then they don't need you.
Exactly. I found that. Like there was one situation here where I thought I was becoming like legitimate friends with somebody, and then they asked me to help them with something. And when it became clear that I couldn't help them with what they wanted, they just never talked to me again. And that really hurt. And so I've definitely become a bit more of a closed book a little bit, you know? And I
feel like a lot of us are public, private people.
Yes, I'm an introverted extrovert. That's what I like to say.
Because especially when you see online, we're having this beautiful life.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'm sitting in my house the whole day, and the only people that I'm interacting with are my social media communities. And I get out like at 6 p.m., go to a show, come back home. But when you post that 1 minute short video of you in a club doing a show, it looks like you have a really good, entertaining life.
Yeah. It's so weird because I'll have weeks where I feel like I'm not accomplishing anything, I'm not doing anything, and people back home will be like, you're killing it. I saw you're doing so well. And I'm like, okay, you know? But I think it's good sometimes to like show that a little bit on social media, to make it look like you are doing well, because that's kind of the whole point of social media, to make it look like you're doing a little better than
Make it look like.
Don't you think?
Yeah. If it's not on the gram, it's a scam.
Yeah. Do you think anybody could be good at social media?
Yes. But you need to like it.
Okay.
And you don't even need to do it every day, to be on it every day. Because technology has made it so easy for us. You can just choose one day where you create your content, do your post, and just schedule them and let them take care of it of themselves. So you don't need to wake up every day and think of what to post today.
Have you had negative reactions to anything you've posted online?
Yes.
Okay. How did you handle that?
What I do is when I have, because some people are just rude. Some people you can, because comedy is also very subjective, and whatever we make fun of could be someone's reality that they are currently going through.
Okay.
So I always take that into consideration as well, that maybe it did hurt them. I delete.
You do? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I delete. And if you keep saying offensive stuff, I block you. Because I've got the power.
And you're good to turn that off mentally.
Yes, because I always think if you walked into your bedroom and you found that someone had did a number 2 on your floor, are you not going to clean it? Are you just going to leave it there?
Okay.
So I clean the crap. I clean it, delete, remove. I remove it.
Good for you. I like that. I find I'm getting better about that, but I used to really care. Like it would really affect me what people would say online. And I think that's why I stopped posting stuff.
With me, I feel sorry for people because it always makes me think, I wonder what they are going through. They must be really going through something. Because you could make a joke about a breakup and someone who's just going through a breakup, when they see it, it's not a joke to them. And sometimes people forget that they don't know you in real life and they think you are picking on them. And you're like, I don't know your personal problems. Like even my friends, they know whatever you share with me might end up on stage. Whatever you share with me might be a comedy idea I already have. So if you don't want it to end up in one of my comedy sketches or to end up on stage, don't tell me about it. Because if you don't, just because you've told me you're going through a divorce doesn't mean I must now cancel all my jokes about divorce. So, yeah.
And it must be hard too, because people probably feel like you're so easily accessible. So they can give you their opinion.
And people think they know you personally.
Yeah.
Because they see you all the time and
So they think you want
they
the
have
feedback
access
almost.
to you.
Yeah.
Because they can just decide, oh, let me go and see that video or share that. And also, you get a lot of people who think they are comedy writers.
Oh, God, that's the
want
worst.
to send you their ideas.
You find it's mostly men?
Yes.
Yeah, I get a lot of
it
that too. And I've never once had a woman critique in the way a man does. I've had men write me pages of advice.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where does this confidence come from? I would never.
I've even had men tell me that no man is ever going to want to be with me because I'm too confident or like,
Yeah, I get told that a lot too. And it's very sad that there's people there that feel that way. And you know what? Those people would still probably date either one of us if we wanted them. You know, I think a lot of that comes from them being rejected by strong, confident women. And I think if there's a man that doesn't want...
it comes from them wishing they were strong, confident women.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I think a lot of those men end up with women that aren't confident, because a confident woman would never put up with those type of people.
Yes.
And I find that as I get older, I'm definitely more confident in that regard. Like when I was younger, I would put up with the worst treatment from men because I just felt like, oh, somebody likes me. And I felt like I had to be grateful that a person liked me instead of actually asking myself if I liked them, if that makes sense. And I'm finding that with comedy too, there's some gigs that I just don't do anymore because they don't make me feel good. And I think there comes a time in life where you realize you don't have to say yes to everything. If it doesn't make you feel good, what is the point? Even if you're making money, what is the point if you're going to come home and cry?
Yes.
And I think that took age for me. Because when I was younger, I would just feel like I needed to say yes to everything. Because I felt like if I said no, I would never get asked to do anything ever again. And so I'm definitely working on being stronger as a person. But it's tough. And like I think that's why I started the podcast, because I had a lot of rejection here.
In England?
Yes. At levels I was not prepared for. I mean, things are going great in terms of live comedy, so I'm trying to be grateful. But I thought it'd be much easier to move into the TV stuff. I thought it'd be much easier, and that I don't know what I was thinking. I think I thought somebody would just see me and be like, "You're amazing. Here's a show," you know. And that's just not how things work. So I think I resisted making my own path for a long time because I kept waiting for somebody to come along and be like, "No, I got you. I can save you. I can put you on TV, or I can give you all this money." And that's just not how it works. So that's why I find like when I look at someone like you that makes their own stuff and makes their own path, I find that really inspiring. And I think those are the people that I need to be around more and kind of like not copy, but see what they're doing. And in terms of like how they made their own path, you know?
And it is inspiring to be surrounded by especially women. Like YouTube does that a lot. They have groups for content creators that are female, and it has helped me a lot to meet like-minded people that I can reach out to, that I can do stuff with, that I can learn from. And I think it helps to surround yourself with like-minded people, because then you know I'm not crazy.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
There was a time when I was thinking, because I'm 45, I'm too old for this. Maybe I should stop. Because there are voices all the time. You get voices around you. Oh, my daughter, oh, my this. And you're like, maybe I am too old for this. And then you go out and you meet people who are in their 50s. I met a YouTuber who's 92.
Really? I like hearing that, because I felt like it was too late for me to kind of get into the content creation and get followers. I felt like it was a young person's game and I couldn't figure it out and I'd get frustrated. So it's not, I did not know you were 45. I'm sure you could hear that a lot, that's shocking to people.
Black don't crack.
Yeah, it really doesn't. It really doesn't, and I'm very jealous of that.
You know what I love is when I tell people I'm 65. I even have an ID that I bought from eBay that says I'm 65.
Because people are probably like,
just to prove that black don't crack.
I love that. Maybe I should start doing that. I should start telling people I'm 57, and they'll be like, "You look so good," and then I'll feel better about myself.
The only problem is when they say you look good for your age.
That's like the equivalent of almost when people will be like, "Oh, you're so funny for a woman." You must get people say that to you sometimes too, or being like, "Oh, I don't normally see female comics that I find funny." That to me, and people think they're complimenting you. And it's just insane. It's bizarre. But the thing I like about here is there's so many funny women.
Yes.
There are funny women back home, but just numbers, it wasn't the same. And here, a lot of times at clubs, there'll be like 3, 4, 5 females on a show. And like back where I'm from, there'll be one woman and that's it, you know? So I really like that. And I found that like really inspiring. Or also seeing people that are so funny and they're not famous, but they're happy and they're making a living doing it. You know, there's so much talent here.
That's what I always tell people about comedy. Don't just watch the comedians that you see on television.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Go to the clubs. When I get younger people or people who want to get into comedy, regardless of age, and I always ask them, who's your favorite comedian? And they're always going to say someone who's big on television. Yeah. I'm like, then you don't know comedy. Go to comedy clubs, watch 5 comedy shows and come back. Then we can talk. Because you can't just want to do comedy based on you seeing people on TV. Because another problem we're going to have is that you're going to think that after 2 months you should be on TV. Yeah. There are so many people who are doing well and who are really good, but who've never had 2 minutes on television.
When I was 18, I left home to move to Toronto to do comedy. And I remember writing in a journal that by 23 years old, I will be famous and living in LA. Because I thought that was it. I thought it was just going to take 5 years. I thought that was it.
But people also forget that fame is not easy, especially when you get it.
I don't even know if I want it anymore, to be honest with you. I just want success. But
the demise of Matthew Perry.
Yeah.
Loved by everyone.
Yeah.
All over the world. Died alone.
Yeah.
And when you look at what he struggled with, when he made so many of us happy. Mm-hmm. But look what happened to him. So fame is not as glorious as people think it is.
No, I don't even think I want it anymore. I think I just want to be at a place where I'm proud of where I am and I know that I'm working to my full potential. And that's what I'm really trying hard right now, because I don't think I've ever worked to my full potential. I think I always knew I was capable of more, but I was very lazy. And I'm really kind of struggling to get out of that mindset. And being around Kate Barron has helped me a lot in that regard. She's such a hustler.
She's a hustler.
And she's really motivated me to be a hustler. Like I'm doing way more shows now since I live with her and hang out with her, because she's just constantly go, 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 go. And it's really inspiring.
And she wants to see everyone win. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. She wants to see you win, which is good. And those are the people you need around you.
Yeah, and I think that's what I'm trying to, like, in terms of friends in the industry, I'm trying to find more like-minded people like that who, A, want success. Because for me, I feel like if I make it, my friends make it, and vice versa. So it's good to surround yourself with people like that, you know, not people who, like, you feel if you get something that they want, they're just not going to be your friend, or they're going to talk about you behind your back. And unfortunately, the entertainment industry is just full of that. And it's really hard to know who to trust and stuff.
Everybody wants to be famous.
Yeah. So did you have friends like kind of stop being friends with you when you got fame?
Maybe I was too busy to notice.
Oh, that's good.
And fortunately for me, because you make most of your core friends at uni. Mm-hmm. So most of my friends did study drama. Most of my friends are in the industry. Most of my friends are very famous. So, yeah, I do have some though that they just think it's easy to do what I do. That
it's not a real job.
Yes, or they think, oh, my daughter wants to be an actor. Can you put her in this show? And if you can't, then they don't like you anymore. Mm-hmm.
I feel so. People that don't understand how the business works really don't understand. Like my mom would just be like, "Why don't you write to Netflix or do?" I'm like, "Mom, that's not how it works." You know, like they just think it's so easy. That always makes me laugh a little bit. So if I were to say to you, "Okay, how do I get followers? How do I start that?" What would your advice be to somebody like who has social media? I have an okay presence, but I'm not consistent.
You've answered yourself.
It's to be consistent, isn't it? Okay.
Be consistent and be honest as well.
I find that works better for me. Like the videos that I post where I'm really honest about what's going on, people seem to like those.
And don't expect your friends and family to be the ones that love and support you. Mm-hmm. Wait for genuine, organic engagement.
Okay.
Because sometimes you will get, when you send to your friends and say, support my video, they won't even watch it. They'll just like and leave it. But the algorithm will think this must be a boring video if people are clicking but not watching the full video.
Okay.
So wait for organic engagement.
You got to be patient.
Yes.
I like that.
And also, don't just post. find people that inspire you, that you like, comment on their stuff. Because if you leave funny comments, then people who read your comments will be like, let's go check her out.
That's smart.
Who is this person?
I like that. Yeah. I really appreciate you coming on and doing this podcast. Like I said, it's a new podcast, so I'm kind of learning as I go. So I hope you've had an okay time. And I do feel like I want people to know that, like, no matter what level of success you have, you still will have failures and you still will have rejections. And I guess it's just what you do with those failures and rejections that make you as a person or help you get to the next level.
Let me tell you a trick that I do.
Please.
I have on my social media, I have on my notes. I have notes where if I think of a funny comment, I write it down. And then I know one day I will use it. Just like how you think of a joke and write it down. If you think of a funny social media comment, just write it down. Or have your stable funny comments.
That's really smart.
And go to pages with most engagement. If you are a comedian, so find comedians where you're like, I would love to have her audience. Go post your funny comments. And if 400 people like your funny comments, maybe 20 of those 400 people will follow you.
Okay. That's really smart. I like that. I'm going to have to, I think sometimes I don't think of social media like a business. And maybe if I applied my brain that I have for comedy and how to get further ahead in things like content creation and stuff, that would probably work out a bit better for me. But I think, like I said, I just want the instant results, and I know that's not the way it's going to be. So I'm trying to be better about the impulse control, I guess, if you will. So I appreciate that advice, and I'll definitely try to apply it. I feel like people probably ask you for help a lot with social media. Does that get annoying?
No.
Okay.
It never does.
So
because the more I help people, the more I learn as well. And also I know that one day they will know something I don't.
Okay.
And it will be easier for them to help me if I have helped them.
Okay. So if you, I hesitate to ask you this question almost because I do feel like out of all the guests I've had, you're definitely the most put together person. I feel like... and if not, you're a great actor because you come across very happy, confident, and proud of your work. And I think that's something that I
bring me my Emmy.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something I aspire to. So if you woke up tomorrow and you had 1 million notifications going off on your phone and people were texting you and being like, Thenjiwe, everyone hates you. What did you do? Is there anything that you could think of in your mind? Oh, I did that. That's why everyone would hate me.
I would think my account was hacked.
Okay.
I would think my account was hacked, or I would think I must have done a video that I thought was funny without checking what was really happening in the world. For example, I make fun of everyone, politicians. Imagine, because sometimes I schedule my videos.
Oh, right.
I could have a video. Imagine if you had a video making jokes about the Queen, and you scheduled it the morning of the sad news about her passing. And you are sleeping as a comedian, you're going to wake up at 12 p.m. And by the time you wake up, people think you just did it that morning. So sometimes things can be tasteless because of the bad timing. So I would quickly go and check, what did I post? What was scheduled for today? And delete it and apologize.
Have you had to apologize for anything before?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I have.
And you had no problem with that?
No.
Okay.
No. At first I was like, why should I apologize? But then I realized that we are different. We go through different things. I didn't mean to hurt anyone. And if I post a joke, people find it insensitive, I'll apologize and delete it. I've had to apologize about, say, there's a joke about a dog that I made. It was a dog, it was stung by bees, and so his face was swollen. And to me, he looked like one of our politicians. And he did, so I put the two photos together. South Africa found it very funny. but animal lovers thought I was making fun of the dog.
Oh,
And they
you
were
had
very-
apologized because of the dog?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And I did apologize, and I did take it down
Okay.
because people thought I was being insensitive and making fun of the dog that was.
Okay. That's not the direction I thought
Yeah.
that story was going to go. I thought
Yes.
people were mad about the politician,
No,
but
no,
people love dogs.
Yeah,
They
people love
really do,
dogs.
as you learned.
They
That's
love
really
dogs,
funny.
yeah.
But good for you. I think a lot of people don't have the ability to kind of look at something and be like, okay, I should apologize, or maybe that wasn't bad taste. And it seems like you do.
And the thing is, there are jokes that are funny when you tell them to your friends. There are jokes that can be funny in this room, but for someone who doesn't understand or who's never been inside this room, that might not be a funny joke. And that's what the internet does. You might have a joke that these two people are going to find very funny, but maybe people in Egypt don't find it funny. So, yeah, sometimes it's because of that. It just gets seen by people you were not even doing it for.
Not your
or
intended audience.
Not your intended audience.
Well, that's
yeah.
the thing with social media, right? Once it's out there, it can be out there for so many different people and maybe not your target audience, right?
Yes.
So I guess with everything you post, there's going to be negativity. And that must be, something that just kind of comes with the territory.
Yes.
So I think that is like, it's good to like remind people of a little bit that like when you're putting your work out there is going to be negativity, but that isn't necessarily a reflection on your work. It's just getting out in front of the right audiences. And I think once we find our audience, that's where you know that you're in the right place. And you're doing the right
Another
thing.
one, sorry to cut you, I had
No,
to
please.
apologize for. I was here in the UK. I posted a picture which I found really funny because we had just been to a friend's house. He's very rich. He has a swimming pool, and not everyone can have a swimming pool in England. And it was a whole lot of us black people. Nobody got into the swimming pool because we can't swim. So I took a photo, made a little joke, posted on the internet, not knowing that in my hometown there were floods and people were drowning.
Oh, no. People probably went crazy.
Yes, like, is it because black people are drowning in the floods and you're making fun of them not being able to swim? But that was not my intention. I didn't even know what was happening there.
Oh my gosh. That would probably
So
have been a little
sometimes
much.
it's just bad timing.
Yeah, okay. And you apologized and took it down and okay. But that's good. But you still got to put stuff out there, right? You still got to keep trying and know that like you're
Actually,
going to make
I'm
mistakes.
gonna repost it today and see if it's gonna get.
Yeah, do it again because it's a different time
different-
now, right?
yeah.
So there you go. So is there anything else that before we wrap up here, is there any other failures or rejections that you've kind of shaped you as a person or a performer?
Yes, many. I think we face rejection when I miss the train. That's failure because now I'm late for where I'm going. Divorce, but it did shape me as a performer because it gave me back my freedom.
Yep.
I can go whenever
Nobody
I
to
wanna
answer
go,
to,
no
be
one
out as
to
late as
answer
you
to,
want.
and it gave me a lot of new jokes, and now I can freely make jokes about him without worrying that don't care.
That's the thing with comedy. You can't be with a partner who's going to care.
Yeah.
You have to find somebody that will let you make fun of them and put their life on stage, and not all men are okay with that.
Yeah, but when it happened, it wasn't something I had planned for. I didn't want to get divorced. I come from my parents were not married to each other. They had me when they were very young, so that's definitely something I didn't want for myself. I wanted to have children by the same person. I wanted my children to live with their parents under the same roof. So that was failure when it happened. But it has shaped me. It made me stronger. It made me more independent. It made me work harder. And it's given me a lot of new jokes.
Good. That's a good way to look at it. I really appreciate you being so open about that kind of stuff. And it's been really nice to have a different outlook on the show. I think because mostly my interviews so far have been comedians. It's been a lot of like failure stories in terms of like not being able to look at the positive or not being able to spin it into something that worked out. And so I really like that and I really appreciate it. Is there any, like obviously, you have the semifinals of the British is the British Comedian of the Year coming up, which is amazing. Is there anything else you want to plug or let people know about, or just where people can find you? I mean, I'll put your ad up for sure.
Follow me on all my social media platforms, Thenjiwe Comedy, and on YouTube, Thenjiwe Unplugged for English speakers. Thenjiwe Comedy is where I do comedy in my language, which is Zulu. But now I've started another one for my global audience, Thenjiwe Unplugged. And I am currently on tour with my show that I did in Edinburgh, The Mandela Effect. And I'm taking it to many other places up to towards the end of next year. So I will be coming to a place near you. If you check me out, you'll find out when I'll be coming to a town where you live. Thank you. I really enjoyed this.
Oh, thank you so much. I feel like I'm just getting started. And so I feel really almost like I want people to have a good time. You know, I want people to enjoy themselves and feel good with what they're talking about. So I really appreciate it.
Everyone hates you.